What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Jackson Says. Now, today is June 19th, Juneteenth, which is actually starting to turn into more of a holiday as it should be. For some of you who don't know what Juneteenth is, it's the black community. We've been celebrating this day for years, and what Juneteenth is all about was it's when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed to officially end slavery. Okay, this all took place 155 years ago. So think about that. 156 years ago, slavery was actually legal. Okay, and so that's what the Emancipation Proclamation was all about. It made its way to Texas because 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, you still had a lot of slaves in Texas that were not even aware that that bill was passed and signed, and of course, slavery was still active. Let's put it that way. So that's just a little breakdown of the history. Now the end of slavery, it does not mean that it's the end of racism, or it's the end of prejudice. People being prejudiced. So that's just something else we're still dealing with. As I said, 155 years later, after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. Okay, and there's been a lot of acts lately. There's been a lot of acts where the world is actually now being able to physically, visibly see slavery acts or slave mentality or racist acts right before your eyes. Okay, and the most recent was George Floyd, and rest in peace, George Floyd. And again, the justice for George needs to be had, and this situation with Mr. George Floyd, it really hit home with me. I live in Minnesota, so I'm in the state where everything took place at. There's again a lot of the neighborhoods that I was raised in, or some of the neighborhoods that the protesters, that's been protested. Again, the protest, we protested in a major way, and I want to thank everybody who came out to protest. Okay, now on the flip end of protesting, you have riots, looting, and again, that in itself, it's still a form of protesting, but it's done in a more aggressive type of way. And originally, I said, I was one of the ones speaking out saying, and again, this is to my own community. I was speaking out saying, what? Let's not do it this way, because we're hurting ourselves by burning down our community, by tearing up some of the stores that our mom and our dads have to go get their medication from, by bringing down the value of our own property, by hurting our, at first I was on that side of things, okay? And after everything is said and done, honestly, I feel like peaceful protesting has been going on for years and years and years, okay? By blacks, by whites, by other races as well, okay? Again, this is not a black versus white situation. I want to make that very clear. That's not my point of view. But it's a wrong versus right situation. And racism. You don't hold your knee on the neck of any human being for 8 minutes and 40 seconds without trying to inflict pain, torture, and murder to that individual. You don't even do that to an animal, let alone a human being. So again, that's called systematic racism, meaning they're doing it in a more underlined professional way. Okay, so again, right is right, wrong is wrong, and we in this together. Everybody has to wake up, open their eyes, and say enough is enough. Because guess what? If not, the cycle continues. And one day it may be you affected by this. One day it may be your mother, your brother, your sister, your aunt, one of your relatives affected by this. And that's how we have to live our lives, is realizing, look, one hand washes the other. We all have to take care of each other. And they both wash the face, okay? I mean, there was, the world. This went worldwide. And I'm so thankful it did, because we have to wake the world up, okay? A lot of these situations where, race tension has been going on. It's been in certain sections, and it doesn't really spread the way it should, okay? Nowadays we have social media, so if something happens right now, guess what? It can touch another side of the country the next second, okay? And it's beneficial in situations like this, where we have to spread awareness to what's really going on in this world, okay? Now, Mr. George Floyd was a 46-year-old black man, and he was approached by police, pulled out of his vehicle for allegedly using a counterfeit $20 bill, spending a counterfeit $20 bill. So just think about that. What gives any person in this world the right to literally murder another person? Okay, that's point number one. Point number two is, this was a person or figure who was considered to be, authority. This Minneapolis police officer who's responsible for this. And the way I was raised, I used to have the DARE committee. The police departments come to your school and talk to you. They're a part of your community. You actually felt like you knew them and they knew you. Over the years, that really has faded away. And now it's just an occupation. So you got people who have certain hatred, certain beliefs, certain ways of living that are wrong, okay, hiding behind a badge. And regular society is supposed to look at this person because they're wearing that badge and say, we have to respect and basically follow the orders and directions of this person because they're the authority. Now, that's why a lot of officers are quitting. A lot of officers are backing down from the force, because they're starting to realize that a lot of these, they know firsthand a lot of these things that are going on with the police departments and these forces and these people. It's not right. I mean, in any job, you have to have stand-up people doing that job. I don't care if it's a fast food chain. You have to have stand-up people who knows how to do their job properly, who's not cutting corners. Otherwise the world's at risk, especially when you're dealing with police officers. Okay, because they're the ones who are supposed to protect and serve. Instead, what they've been doing is arresting and murdering. Protect and serve is what's on the majority of these police vehicles that you see ride by. That's their motto, to protect and serve. How are the ones that are in position to protect and serve the ones that are blatantly murdering individuals?